plane. Hi, Tim. Welcome. We have not met yet, and here you're hearing the worst from me.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I've actually watched a few of the YouTube videos of your previous meetings, so I feel like I've been at a meeting or two, even though I have not. But I'm excited to be here and meet you and start being a part of the group.
Well, you're welcome. We'll just give it a few minutes. We had nothing huge planned today, which may be what we're seeing with this lack of people. And we may all just get a free afternoon at the rate this is going. Except you have another meeting in a couple hours, don't you, Mark?
Yeah, but that's
Um,
not till 5:30. That's the next Loon group. But yeah,
that's the next Loon group.
yeah. But I do see
Um,
Heinrich is on now. So yeah,
is he?
yeah. Are you not
He
seeing
is.
it? Yeah.
I do. I have to look at a different system. I'm still
Okay.
trying to figure out if anybody could be sitting in my spams. And
Hello, I'm here.
hi, Heinrich. How are you today?
Moderate. I'm post-surgical, so
Ooh,
Oh,
everything all right, I hope.
yeah, one of those things.
It,
is
it,
that
it seems to come along with aging, doesn't
Yeah.
it? The joys of. Yep.
um,
But things are quiet on the lake. Still a few birds left. Lots
Yeah.
of sandhill cranes coming by.
How many cranes are you seeing? I saw one down here in the Scarborough Marshes a couple of weeks
Anywhere
ago.
between 10 and 30 every night.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're commuting from the Sacro Plains to the marsh.
sure. Sure. Oh, isn't that exciting?
And they're leaving around mid-November, or the last ones come through. I think those are all, they're sort of groups coming from the north and staying for a few days and then
Yeah.
leaving.
they're going to be late this year. Like we haven't even seen them here yet. Usually we get them in the high hundreds here. Like I mean, I can look across the road and see a hundred of them. But they haven't even started coming down yet. It's just so warm
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I'm assuming that, especially since I think harvest, I don't think they had a good harvest in much of Ontario this year. It's been too dry.
Same thing down here. Yeah.
So I suspect that they're going to be doing a lot more looking for food because they really love the harvest techniques of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah. I could be proven wrong. That wouldn't
We
be the
all could
first
be.
time I've been wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heinrich, have you seen years ago, and I'm trying to think of the year, 2016, there was an article in the Minnesota State Wildlife magazine from their wildlife agency about what happened with the sandhill crane population in Minnesota, where it started, like in Maine, it started with just a
Yeah.
few birds trickling in, and then it went zoom, to be thousands, and it was, who knows
Right.
what will happen here in Maine. Yeah.
Yeah, be interesting. I mean, how many, quite a few states that hunt them,
Oh yeah.
supposedly they're very good eating and the pilgrims like them a lot.
Uh,
I don't know if they hunt them here. I know they've been trying to get a hunt in, and I would say that they've got a sustainable population they could hunt up here now. Um, oh, earliest possible start date under the consideration for hunting in Ontario is 2026. Probably just takes that long to get the paperwork through.
I wouldn't be
Uh,
surprised. Oh, Nina's on. Nina's just joined us.
cool. Welcome, Nina.
Hi, how are
This
you?
good. How about yourself? We don't
I'm
have a
okay.
huge group, so we're gonna just keep it light and airy, and we won't go too heavily into the I don't even know if it's worthwhile to share any updates, Mark. Um,
Well, I mean, we can at least. Does everybody have access to the agenda for today, so they will at least have seen the topics? Okay, and
yeah.
we can ask people if they want to go into any of those agenda items.
No,
And we can go around and introduce ourselves too, just because
yes.
everybody knows everybody else. But yeah,
And we have two relatively new people on there. Nina's been with us for a while, but in a different position now. Um, I am right on that, right? I'm remembering right.
Yes, that's
Nina,
correct.
that
Yep.
is correct.
Yep.
I don't always trust my memory. I like to say it's my excuse nowadays is I've stuffed so much stuff in it, some of it's falling out.
Mhm.
That is my present excuse. So welcome everybody. All eight, oh, up to eight now. That's great.
Oh,
Not
there's
much,
Sheila.
pardon me.
No, I just said there's Sheila.
There's
Good.
Sheila. Welcome, Sheila. That's the person who wasn't on this when we got here earlier. Welcome. All right. Well, we'll get going now since we have all of us are here that I think. Um, some housekeeping. And I'm going to keep asking this. Maybe somebody would take it up. I've started a table of contents of all our meetings because we've been at this now for what, 4 years now, Mark?
Yeah, a little over, but yeah.
So if anybody wants to pick a year and go through our folder for that year and write out the summaries, like all I want is a single sentence that says what that meeting was about. I'm hoping we'd have some volunteers for that. And I'm not going to worry about note keeper volunteer this week because there's not that much involved. I have, it has occurred to me that our map of where people are is not up to date. So I'm going to share that. And if anybody wants to add their dot to the map, feel free. Um, if anybody doesn't like the information I put on the dot for their location, feel free to edit because I do these things in a hurry. So maybe I'll share that because it's kind of fun to look at it. This is getting, I think, at least 2 years old now. But the last time I updated it, that's where all the locations of the people we were communicating with were. I'm not quite sure why I'm down in, oh, that's somebody else. Okay.
I
So,
just added that.
oh, okay. All right. Well, then we'll update that yet later. Yeah. And that gives you a really good idea of how many people are involved with the organization, this group. So I thought it's kind of nice to have an ability to see it on a map. I myself like that a lot.
Mhm.
Um, I'll stop sharing now so people can just add it. What else is on my notes here? Um, Also something I'm wondering about is we have a main steering committee member, Natasha Borlotta, who's very involved. She's with the Loon Fund. She has a big meeting right now at the exact same time as this. It's going to take a whole year, she figures, before it's complete. So she's unavailable to us for a year, but we know this particular time zone meets into many people's schedules. So I just I've created a when to meet file and I will share it with everybody. And my goal right now is not to see if we should change this to see um, if this is the best time for everybody. And we may decide it isn't. And you don't have to even put your signature on that. You can put your information to when to meet without making a login. And the only time I've put in right now is the present meeting. So maybe we'll just see if there's a better time for everybody. Like we have the next meeting is Loons right after this. I used to have meetings before this, but the Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas is almost complete. So I'm going to only have those meetings every quarterly. It's exciting too. I think we got some really good data. Um, so if we find there's a better time and date to do those meetings, we can. Because obviously we're having a problem if only 10 people are showing up for the meetings. We're not, the schedule does not match a lot of people's need. Okay, let me see here. Other items I have to share here. Let me see. The first one is Safe Quiet Lakes, which is a Canadian organization that looks at one of the busiest areas of Ontario, which is the Muskoka region. And Francisca Carmichael is a member of this group, and she's actually been part of presentations here on wake work before. And they've done a stakeholder survey for the last 4 or 5 years about the use of Ontario lakes and what people want on their lakes. The latest one is completed for 2025. It's with 7,100 lake users.
Wow.
And they have an event that they're holding quite soon, I think, that they're going to go over um, the results of that survey. And I put the registration link up there. She wanted to make sure that everybody here was invited to it. So I thought that was an important one to sail. And I find it very interesting. In the shift, we're seeing shifts in types of boats use in two directions, I think. We're seeing ones that are bigger and ones that are smaller. Paddleboards are exceptionally popular in Canada since COVID. And I don't know why. They're really quite expensive, um, I think. But um, so it's a great way to learn how stakeholders are thinking on lakes if somebody's interested in that. Other updates, Loon Watch. I've had 3 or 4 emails back and forth from the person who's trying to get all the paperwork done for Loon Watch. Mark,
Mhm.
what was her name? Do you remember?
Oh, goodness. Hang on and I can find it. Yeah, I mean, she's come back out of the woodwork after not being involved with loons for
Terry
Terry.
Terry
Dalton.
Dalton.
Yeah,
And so
thank you.
we've had a few emails back and forth. She remembers Harry, and of course I remember Harry.
Sure.
And Harry's still going in his own way. Um, and they're very interested. When they get things sorted out, they will be joining the fold with these meetings. They're just not there yet. So I just wanted to let people know that that conversation has been continuing. Another one I wanted to make sure was mentioned, the National Loon Center grants. This is an interesting grant center. This is one, and this is with the National Loon Center of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, am I right?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yes. Okay. Minnesota. That's sad. And it sounds like it's a great granting system, and you do not have to be in Minnesota. You don't even have to be in the United States to apply. And it's with a reasonable amount of money. So if you guys have things that match their needs for research, and that's the needs that they're considering granting for, um, consider putting in an application. The deadline is December, I believe. Mark, are you on that
December
steering
5th.
committee?
Jay and I are both on the committee.
And
Yeah.
so's Doug, I think.
Yep. Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So
And Kevin
that's a
Keno and a couple of other people. Yeah.
so that's a great opportunity out there to consider um, for some research opportunities.
Yeah. One
If
one thing I would say, and Jay, I appreciate your echoing in on this. This is the first year that National Loon Center will be awarding grants. Um, and they're still in the process of figuring out what it is they want to fund. So I think if you look at the RFP, the request for proposals, you'll see several categories of things that they've identified as priorities. But if you've got other ideas, there are many things that can fit under the rubric of research. And so I would say, particularly this first time around, when they don't know how many applications they'll get or what projects. So if you're interested, it would be worth probably applying just to see what happens.
Yeah, I was talking to Natasha about this during a loon monitoring subcommittee, and even something like developing standards and looking into what everybody
Yeah.
does. And developing standards could be something you apply for funding for. Hint, hint, all the members of this group who want standards. So that's something to keep in mind. I've also poked Doug on that as well, but other people can beat us to it. It doesn't have to be with us. Jay, if you want to make some money, but that's an option.
It's a considerable amount of money. I know they've already funded one project associated with enhancing the loon genoscape that some of you may be aware of. So I know some of the money has been directed towards that. But yeah, it's really an open invitation. I know it's based from the Ricketts Conservation Fund, who's really interested in enhancing loon productivity and trying to reestablish loons where they once bred and maintain viable populations. So I know that's been one of their focuses, but they are really interested in the whole gamut, especially things that we haven't thought about in the past, such as wintering behavior, wintering habitat, migratory routes, anything that would really help the overall loon population. I mean, I guess that's all I have to say. It's really a great group and very generous, amount of money.
I don't think there's any match either, which is really cool. Like
You
if we
know,
go to our national science and research field, we have to match it. Now it's pretty easy for us because we can match it with volunteer time, but we still
yeah.
have to match it somehow. And that's rare for a grant anymore. So if anybody wants to do national standards on loons, it's something that they could put in. Or other projects that are equally, if not more interesting. Um, I also, other things is just a whole bunch of updates I had. Adirondack has a loon position advertised. So putting that up. And finally, I just got this today. Watersheds Canada is doing a full panel on the impact of salt on lakes. And I don't know
Wow.
how that works in with loons, but it's a valid point. So I thought I'd share that with folks as well. And that is tomorrow.
Phew.
So, and I'm just about done talking on these things. That's a lot. So if anybody have any questions on any of those general updates, let me know. But I tell you, I'm excited about the Safe Quiet Lakes webinar. I find that a great resource for knowing what people on lakes are concerned about.
Hmm.
And then I can aim my messaging based on that because that's one of the most populous areas of Canada on the lakes.
Kathy, do you know if that will be recorded and available later on?
I do not know. It's on Zoom, which usually means that they will send a response to everybody afterwards. My experience with Safe Quiet Lakes is they do record things and they do put them up, but that doesn't, all it takes is one glitch in the recording process. We've been
Uh-huh.
there and it doesn't work. But if it is, I will share the recording with everybody later.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So does anybody have anything else to add before we go on to the next stuff?
Well, I wanted to just go back to something you said in the beginning, and that
Okay,
do we all know one another?
that's a good point. Do you want to start a roundtable, Mark? You sound like the perfect person to
Sure,
do it.
why not? Yeah, I'm Mark Pokris. I'm a semi-retired wildlife veterinarian. I'm in southern Maine. I've been working on this loon stuff for what, 40-ish years, something like that. And um, I tend to work mostly on issues of toxicology and pathology and infectious disease and things of that nature.
Cool. I'm just going to follow my who's in order on my page. So sorry. And if you don't want to talk, you can just say a pass or something like that. I'm next in my framework, and I'm Kathy Jones, and I'm from the Canadian Lakes Loon Survey in Birds Canada. And I have been working on the Canadian Lakes Loon Survey since 1995. So not quite as many years as Mark has been around. I tend to take lead on a lot of the volunteer and the engagement stewardship components. There's really three part-time people at the desk here at Birds Canada to run it. Myself, Dr. Doug Tozer, and we have a data compiler we can't live without, and that's Tracy Barber. And right now we have the luxury of having Matt First around for a while as well. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about any loon stuff ever. Next on my page, Tim, do you want to share a bit about yourself?
Sure, thank you very much. My name is Tim Mitchell. I am working for the Minnesota DNR. I'm the Loon Program Coordinator, and I got hired in March of this past year. I come from an academic research background, and I've worked on a lot of things that have not been loons. So I did a PhD working on nest site choice in painted turtles. I've worked
Nice.
on in fact, I watched one of the previous meetings that Myron was talking about, and I used eye buttons and turtle nests quite a bit to look at thermal profiles in turtle nest incubation. I've worked on lizards, and I've also been at the University of Minnesota recently working on pollinator conservation. Interestingly, because you just mentioned it, I worked a lot on the effects of road salt, getting into roadside ditches and how that might affect
Uh-huh.
pollinator conservation, monarch butterfly conservation. So I just was punching in that talk tomorrow that I'll probably pop in on because that's interesting to me. So I'm new to loons. I have a field season under my belt. I worked closely with the USGS this past summer. So I bet many of you know Luke Farah worked with him a lot, met Kevin. So maybe you're familiar with what the Minnesota DNR has been up to, but I've got now a field season working with loons under my belt. The Minnesota DNR has been funded on Deepwater Horizon oil spill money for the last 5 years, and we're transitioning. It's the last year of that money. We're now supported from the Major League Soccer team in Minnesota.
Oh,
Our
sure.
loons, they have license plates that people buy. Those proceeds go to the loon program. So it's the first time there's been a permanent loon position for the state of Minnesota, which is exciting for us. And so I've been reading some of your research and papers, and so I know some of you, not all of you, just by your work, but I'm excited to be a part of this group and get to know you all moving forward.
Thank you. And it's lovely to see that the sports team is sponsoring you, because I get a lot of, they show up in my feeds for loon information all the time. So it's nice to see them supporting someone. Heinrich, do you have anything you want to say?
Sure, I'm Heinrich Worm. I'm a retired physician, totally untouched by biology background, but have been chasing loons for the last 10 years. Actually, I live in Western Maine on one of the lakes here. And I've been lucky to be part of a group of folks who have a really well-organized loon project led by Lee Addicks. And so we've have 8 years of data now and are well on our way of keeping track of loons in Western Maine for at least for 3 or 4, actually 8 or 9 ponds and lakes.
Thank you. Marion?
Hi, I'm Mayran. I'm a second year PhD student at Tulane University. I just started working with loons. I spent a week with Jay in the past winter and then summer up in the Adirondacks learning about the life history of loons. Right now I'm developing my dissertation proposal around loons and then their whole annual cycle.
Cool, and thank you. Sheila?
Hi, I'm Sheila Johnston, and I chair the Loon Conservancy Committee for the Gull Chain of Lakes Association, and I coordinate Minnesota Loon Rescue.
Thank you. Luann?
Hello, Luann Jarzel. I've been with Michigan Loon Preservation Association for 30 years or a little more. I'm their secretary and their membership chairman. I help with educational talks and some fundraising. And I've helped with a few citizen science projects. I've helped Jay a couple times and a couple of rescues here in Michigan. Currently, we're trying to get set up to do better rescues, to find vets to treat them when we catch them. It's in the infant stages, but we're not going to give up. Nice to see everybody again.
Nice to see you. Jay, you're next.
Hi, I'm Jay Mager. I'm professor of biological sciences at Ohio Northern University, which is located about an hour south of Toledo. I'm interested with this group because I've had a long interest in working with loons, and I've had the ability to work with loons in a couple of you in a couple of states. Some of my work has looked at parental care strategies in common loons. I've also looked at the role that a vocalization called the yodel plays in territory selection and defense in and among loons. And my most recent work is working actually in South Carolina during the winter, looking at the behavior of loons during the non-breeding season on a freshwater reservoir. And so, yeah, I'm probably talking too much there, but I'm trained as a behavioral ecologist, so I'm really interested in thinking about a lot of questions with respect to loon behavior and how it relates to conservation and management.
Cool. Yes, glad to see you. Nina, you're not on screen, but did you want to share, or are you not in a place to share?
No, I can share. So I'm Nina Schock. I started working with loons in '98 as a volunteer with BRI, and that developed into the Adirondack Center for Loon Conservation. which I was director of, and then I became director of science and conservation last winter when they hired a new director. And I was put on leave and am no longer working with them. So I've started up an LLC and working on developing that, wildlife conservation consulting. Still doing loon rescues and still collaborating with Griffin on his masters, but that's why they have that position open at the Loon Center in the Adirondacks.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Gail, you are the last person, I think, if you're interested in sharing. If you're not in a position where you can share, don't worry about it.
Oh, hi, this is Gail. I live in Minnesota. Welcome, Tim. I live in a nice spot in the North Metro because there are like 5 or 6 lakes with loons on them within 5 minutes of my house. So I do a lot of kayaking, and I also go up to Upper Gull Lake and the Gull Chain of Lakes several times this summer. And I started a Facebook group for loons back in 2009, and it's grown to a few thousand members. And we do everything from people sharing their slides and photos and videos to assisting on a periphery basis with loon rescues. Whenever I get information, I pass it on to the members of my group. Oh, and the name of the group is Larry's Loon Lovers. So check us out.
I do. I'm on there enough.
Oh, cool.
Anybody else have anything else to say? I have updates next. We've all given a little one. I don't know what your preference is. Do you want to do some subcommittee updates next, or do you just want to have a round table about what's been happening in your area? I'm wondering, because it's shorter, whether we should do committee updates first.
Well, I can tell you from the platform subcommittee, we haven't done anything since the breeding season, but I hope we can start getting things up now that that's sort of wrapped up. So there's really nothing to report on, but we were just finalizing a questionnaire that we were designing to send out to a number of loon organizations regarding best practices for using Nest platforms as a management tool. So sorry, I don't have much to report besides I think we're going to try to get going now that breeding season's over for most of our contingent.
If you need anybody to look at that, feel free to reach out, Jay. You know, it's something I'm very interested in. I just can't handle any more meetings in my schedule. You know that world. And do you want to give an update for Natasha's stuff, Mark?
Yeah, just a brief one. You included a nice summary of that in the agenda for today, so I don't think I have to do too much. But basically, we've had a subcommittee for some time on fishing loon safe, and it hasn't been all that active, but it's largely been focused on lead fishing gear and lead initiatives in various states. But talking to Natasha and other committee members, I think the decision has been made that it's important to look at other issues related to fishing, such as entanglement, harassing, fish hook issues. What was the other thing I was thinking of just before this meeting? Anyway, anything related to fishing and the well-being of loons. And I think Natasha is going to be scheduling the next meeting for that subcommittee. We don't have a date or a day of the week picked yet, but if you're interested in those topics and the loon fishing interaction in general, it would be great to get in touch with me or with Natasha at the National Loon Center. And you don't have to be a full-fledged member of the committee, the subcommittee, to be involved in that sort of thing. Tim, I'd love to talk to you about it and what's going on in Minnesota. So yeah, I'm hoping it will be a little bit more active committee in the future. And one of the things that we want to think about is if we're going to be doing this, how to turn people's observations into actual data. What can we be collecting and how can we best be collecting it? On a Google site or, something of that nature, putting together a spreadsheet, putting together questionnaires, and what the categories should be for the kind of fishing interactions we're looking at. Oh, I know the other thing I was thinking about that when I was thinking about potential categories, and I was thinking about line and lead and harassment and so forth, another one that comes up with, I think, increasing frequency is the issue of anglers feeding loons, either feeding them bait fish or feeding them fish that they've caught, because that seems to be resulting in more and more problems, both in the US and in Canada. And again, we'd love to get some actual data on that rather than just odd observations.
And that could be feeding on purpose or not on purpose, correct?
I was in my mind thinking primarily about this. Yes, Kathy. I mean, we have certainly had instances, and I remember one from 2 years ago in Vermont, where some anglers had several fish that they caught on a stringer hanging off the back of the boat, and the loon came along and stole the whole stringer. And then, the metal and line and things like that ended up in the death of the loon. So sure, yeah, purposeful or non-purposeful feeding.
Well, I mentioned it many meetings ago, and Laura Puck from Quebec Oiseau and myself had a conversation with Dean Sequin from Parc National. I won't give you the name because I can't remember it. It's in very French. Um, and where they have a significant problem with 2 or 3 pairs that are taking fish.
Yeah.
They have put in some heavy rules on those lakes. Of course, they can because it's a national park, right? They can set the rules. Well, for French in Canada, one of the crazy things, if you're Quebec and you have a provincial park in Quebec, it's called a national park because, okay, I don't know why, but it is. So it can get confusing at times. But anyways, they have literally said no more catch and release on those lakes.
Hmm.
No more using fish chains on those lakes.
Yeah.
So they put in some pretty loud rules on those.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, I have information on Adine's little postcards that she gives anglers. I think I've got them translated into English too. I can't guarantee that, but you all can use Google Translate. And
Well, that would be good to see. Yeah.
yeah, so I will make sure if you guys get a copy because she has specifically asked to find a research scientist to help her look into this problem more deeply, and I have no one to send her to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
of
I
course,
think
yeah.
Yeah, it's not just an issue with loons. I think many of the wildlife species that we study are opportunistic. And this is, I mean, out in my backyard, I'm watching, Cooper's hawks that know about bird feeders. And this is the same sort of thing. As the loons learn that, this makes fish available, they're not dumb. They're honing in and focusing on a more available resource and often getting into trouble. I think that results in a lot of the entanglements and loon swallowing.
And that may be the next educational document we need because it's something
Yeah.
we can prevent easier because it's not as large of a problem yet.
Yeah, changing human behavior is, yeah.
It looks like Sheila, did you have something to add? I see the hand up there.
Yeah, so our lake association is actually made, there's 5x7 postcards, and one side is loon safe boating and one side is loon safe fishing. And then we distribute them to all the boat rental places on our chain and all the resorts with the request that they'll give them out to like anybody that's renting a boat. And the success is variable depending on the business, but we're trying to do that. And then and Tim, maybe you'll be able to help with this. Our big push for Minnesota Loon Rescue in the coming year is to really start to work more actively with fishing tournaments because we seem to have more hooked and entangled loons in conjunction with fishing tournaments. And it's really sad. I mean, there was a dead, healthy loon on Gull Lake that was found, this fall. I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago. I got the call from Natasha, the owner of a resort on Gull Lake, said there was a lethargic loon out front, but they didn't call until after it was dead. And the necropsy came back and it did not have lead poisoning, but the line was wrapped so tightly around the tongue that, the tongue was essentially dead, and big hook in the wing. And I mean, it just breaks my heart. And I have this, I hate to look out my window and see a fishing boat in front of it. Because there's just too many hooked loons on the gull chain. And, for Tim, that's a big loon lake. So big chain. So we really want to do more. And I hope we can work with DNR fisheries to target fishing tournaments and educate anglers better.
I think this sort of discussion's taking place in a number of states. I know in Maine and New Hampshire with their state wildlife agencies, there's been discussions about, should they include information, as you say, on loon safe boating, loon safe fishing with the license renewals.
That would
come
be
from.
lovely. Yes.
So, I don't know that anybody's done that yet, but at least people are talking about it.
And I was thinking, and feel like we've dropped the ball on it, but there's going to be the new boating licensure in Minnesota for people driving boats. And it seems like that information should be on the test, loon safe boating. Because people don't know how to boat safely near loons.
Well, speaking as somebody in Maine, I do a lot of swimming on lakes in the summer. I want people safe boating.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
well, thank you.
All of Natasha's questions will be in the notes. She's got questions. She has questions about reporting loons and if anybody's compiling data already and who's willing to share data. Best way to share, just as Mark mentioned. And I'm wondering, for sure when it's time for those particular dates for the next meeting, we'll make sure they're shared to everyone so everybody has a chance to attend if they choose to. I think that's the best way to do it. Likely Natasha will share it herself. She's pretty savvy on sending stuff to the whole group. So that'd be great to see. I think that one has a lot of potential to achieving a nice engagement tool in a reasonable time. Now, as for the loon monitoring subcommittee, Heinrich, do you want me to update? Or are you comfortable doing that?
Go ahead.
Well,
fine.
we had a meeting. I think it was just last week at All Blends, and there's the recording of the meeting is available, but you have to have a passcode for it, and I've put that up. And I don't see myself putting it in the Zoom committee thing because it's just a subcommittee meeting. And we also was showing Jay's presentations, and Jay has done a better job with them at some point. So it'd be, if I find the actual meetings for Jay actually presented, those would be better choices to hear than mine. And I do not have permission from Jay yet to share my work with. Yeah, I guess I just got permission. And
Never need to
so,
ask. Yeah, never, Kathy.
just I wanted to mention that if there's a lot of ideas circling right now about needing continued discussion on goals and on standards and reviewing methods and protocols and assembling and summarizing all those things. So there's a lot of potential there for somebody who has the time to work on it. And that's the biggest one, I think, for all of us, is the time to work on it. So if anybody has ideas for students, it's an option. Especially with the new grant. We cornered Natasha during the meeting to see if it would qualify. And certainly it qualifies to apply. That doesn't mean you get the grant, but it qualifies to apply. Just something to consider. If anybody wants to get involved with summarizing what's available in our programs on that, we'd be interested. We're hemming and hawing. I don't think we decided finally whether we need to resend out the past surveys yet to people, but that might be coming, that we may send out to the entire group the past surveys that Jay, were they both in Qualtrics?
Yeah, I believe so, through my site license at my university, and I'm glad to do that again. I don't know. I think I can share the output in Excel files or as PDFs, but I don't think I can share the actual, program. So if there's any piece with respect to any of those that people would like, I'm sure I could download those, save those as a file, and place them somewhere. But there are many different ways by which you can create those data and those files. So, it just depends. If you say, hey, I'd prefer it in an Excel sort of a spreadsheet, I could do that. If you want it in terms of
Yeah.
a CSV data file, I can do that. If you want to see how it actually appeared, so you can actually create like a PDF image of that, not just the survey, but actually of the results, I can do that too. So I can do everything besides share the Qualtrics, access itself.
Question for you. If you and go in using the exact same email you completed the survey on, say 2022, would you get a chance to just update your information, or is you pretty much putting in a new response?
So you mean if you retake the survey?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would log you in as a second contribution. I don't
Okay.
know if it will update your response if it's been submitted. Um, but I can try and see. So if you'd like for me to sort of test that, I can do it, Kathy, to get
I wouldn't
for
yet.
you.
It may
Okay.
be just as smart for all of us to go in with a blank slate if we
Well,
decide to redo them. Yeah.
yeah, and if you
And
remember, that survey was relatively short because we were really just looking at fledging success. That was the big
yeah.
question for the time of the day. And so I think it had been like maybe a month or two after, maybe even a year after we had submitted the first survey, which was pretty extensive regarding membership interests. And so we were trying to keep it short so that we would get, we wouldn't have people just not doing it. And so if we want to also update it to sort of consider thinking about territory occupation and nesting success and hatching success as well as fledging success, we could definitely do that. It just would make something a little bit bigger and some, but
hmm
if you would like for me to be a part of that, Kathy, just let me know and I can join in one of those meetings, hopefully, and I can design that in Qualtrics if you'd like for me to do that again.
Yeah, that's something that we may be interested in that. The other thing I'm hoping is to we are going to suggest for December that people who have not seen Matt First and Luke Ferris presentations to watch those in the December instead of us all showing up on December 31st to a meeting or whatever the date is. If you want to show up on that date for a meeting, you can, but I won't be here. Um, and the other thing I'm thinking about is I'm going to sit down with Matt and see if he can give me a short list on what he recommends for standards. Now, eventually, there'll be more to share on that when the National Loon Survey analysis is published, but that can be a slow process. And that's about, I don't have a lot to share with that, but we will keep sitting down and having those discussions every week, every month about that. And I think it's the third Wednesday. Am I right, Heinrich? Right now we're doing it on the third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And that's all I have to share on that. And I think I'm putting help wanted because I'm sure every single group needs help. So, um, anybody else have anything to add about subcommittees? Okay. Well, we have some time left, but it's not huge. So as for updates, I'm going to put up this way. If anybody wants to provide an update, put your little hand up in the reactions or send me or just start talking or something and people can share their updates if they're like, and I'll try to keep track of them. We don't have time for everyone, and I don't have anything to share, so there's my update. It's too early in the season. And Tim
I,
just
I,
asked to be part of the loon safe fishing and loon monitoring, which goes straight to Natasha, but we'll make sure you're on the email for that. Okay, Heinrich, did you have something to update?
yeah, so a couple of questions. One is this time of year, we have a number of bait fishermen come to our lake. And there's routinely every year there's an uproar among some of the folks living on the lake or in the area, thinking those bait fishermen are stealing the food for the loons. And I just wonder whether anybody has any history or any data on that subject. It's
Heinrich, are they bringing in their own live bait? Or are they putting minnow traps out to trap local?
minnow traps, seine fisher, seine nets, all kinds of things.
Oh,
We're mainly worried actually about them coming in and bringing invasive plants and
yeah.
not checking their nets. So we actually bought a net for them so they can take our net.
Fabulous.
But the other many people feel that there are not enough fish in this lake anyway, and they're taking the youngins away. But I have no idea how to prove
Now,
or disprove that.
Have
how
you
does
talked?
it
I'm sorry.
how does it work there, Heinrich? Are they limited the type of fish? Like in Lake Erie, you can't use sports fishermen as sports fish as bait. So here they are limited to what they can take out. Now, granted, it's all depends on somebody watching them and
Yeah, I mean they're licensed. They pay a fee and they're licensed by Fish and Wildlife to do. But I'm not exactly sure what they're licensed for. But they seem to be taking a fair amount of small fish. But we've checked. Some of us are fishermen. We checked and we still see lots of bait fish around. It's not something. Just wondered whether anybody has any history.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it almost feels to me like you need data. I mean, what species are they taking? Has the take increased from 10 years ago to 5 years ago to today? Is it like elvers, like baby eels, where they're
Right,
just
right.
taking a huge percentage of the population? So I think it's very hard to say. I mean, some of
Right.
those fish have amazing reproductive potential.
Right.
So yeah, it's hard for me to know.
Yeah. The other question I had was something that came up several times. We had a very dry summer. Lots of calcium chloride is put on roads, camp roads, and so forth.
Oh, sure.
People ask, what does the calcium chloride do to the lake and to fish and birds? Does anybody have any data on that?
On calcium chloride, they're doing this.
To bind dust.
yeah,
I was
it
going to
keeps
say,
dust
are
lower.
are they spraying this as a solution?
Yeah, there's trucks go along those dirt roads and spray them almost routinely twice a month or so.
Well, it's better than the oil they used to use, but no, yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, well, I think they do it in Norway routinely as well, and so I have a feeling it's not going to be enough. It's going to be bound in the dirt and unlikely to go into solution and being washed into the lake or into the ocean. So
Yeah, and again, you're tapping into my ignorance, like so many other things. But I think so much of the binding in the soil is going to depend on local soil conditions.
that's true.
I mean, how much organic material is there? What's the pH? Soil is so variable from one location to another. And I'm thinking, I'm familiar with some of the studies done on soil binding of various heavy metals. And I think this would be a similar kind of a thing. So again, without more knowledge, I'd have a really hard time predicting effects.
Yeah.
When I look it up online, it goes straight to road salt, which is not, it's similar. I don't think AI being what AI does is being quite exact on that one. So I don't have any good information to share with you on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times they sell calcium chloride as a less toxic road salt. You don't get as much sodium into the system.
Right. Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I'm coming up online is the impact on soil animals, which would not be a loon or a fish. But I mean,
Not directly.
no, but I mean, it's a 30-second check. So,
Yeah.
Now Tim has mentioned about the bait that your Department of Natural Resources or your Department of Fisheries may do a creel survey, and they might have an information to share with you on what the outtake is on the lake.
Yeah, that's just an idea. I know those are common in fisheries biology. People
Absolutely, yeah.
ask folks, and they might do it with bait fish. Do you know, are people using that bait for personal take, or do they sell it at bait shops?
That's mostly for bait shops for ice
Yeah.
fishing for ice fishing.
Ah,
So they might have some of that information that might be a part of their licensing on what they can take. Maybe it's unlimited, but
Right.
might be worth poking around or shooting an email to your if it's
yeah.
Game and Fish or DNR or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
All right. Anybody else have any updates?
I'll join the fisheries subcommittee too.
All right. We'll have lots of Minnesota representation, Sheila.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, one quick thing is because Jay and I have talked about this a little bit. Every year for many years, we've had a regional loon meeting in the Northeast in March. It's called NELSWIG, the Northeast Loon Study Working Group, where people from all the New England states, New York, and adjacent Canada get together for a couple of days to talk about loons. The dates are Thursday and Friday, the 12th and 13th of March. And in recent years, people have been able to participate via Zoom as well, so you don't have to drive all the way to New Hampshire. But I wanted to let you know that that meeting will be upcoming. People from all over the continent are welcome. We don't get as many Canadians coming as used to now that they can Zoom in. But everybody's welcome. I'll be meeting, I'll be at, it's held at the Loon Preservation Committee in New Hampshire. And Harry Vogel chairs it typically, but we'll be putting together the agenda in the next few weeks. So if you have thoughts on, topics you'd like to discuss, presentations you might want to do, Harry will at some point send out a call for proposals. So that, mine is just sort of an informal introduction. But be thinking about that March meeting because it's a wonderful thing to do. And, one of the things that I think, increasingly like to talk about is take some of the ideas we've been working with the New England collaborations and broaden them across the country. In terms of the mortality stuff, I mean, we've got people at University of Minnesota and University of Washington and, across the country doing loon necropsies and collecting data, but nobody's centralizing and sharing those data. And so I think having some of those discussions would be really good.
What are those dates again, Mark?
Thursday and Friday, the 12th and 13th of March, 2006. 26. I'll be all right. 20 years behind.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get many Canadians this year either, or next year.
Well, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, the border issues of
I don't have a passport, so that just answers your question right there. And I'm not so sure Doug does either, but I could be wrong. He may have updated his. He might have been smarter than I am.
I can come up and visit you guys again, but yeah.
Yeah, you guys are always welcome, and we could always hold something
Yeah.
here. This is true. So that's a Tuesday and Thursday. But
Or
you're right.
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
And that is so worth attending, folks. And it handles for a mixed venue style meeting. It's quite good, so it's worth attending.
Did we ever have a subcommittee on photography or monitoring nest activities by video or photography?
I think there was some discussion when John Cooley was on one of the meetings about doing that as part of the platform group,
Yeah.
but I don't think it ever went anywhere.
Okay.
It's a great
It'd be a cool idea to add to the platform group, except probably Jay says, let's get one thing done first. But there was some really cool work done a few years back on standards for loon nest cams. I don't recall who it is, but I can look it up. I think the last time I tried to look for it, I couldn't find it online anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard somebody in the Adirondacks had some great nest mounted camera videos.
Yeah, and there's Bill, what's his name in New Hampshire, who works with LPC, who is a techno freak who's worked out a lot of wonderful details too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bill's the one that has the standards, I think.
Ah, okay. Yeah, let me see if,
Yeah, we'll try to find that information to share with people.
It's Bill Gassman.
there you go. Thank you.
Bill
Gaston?
Gaston?
Gassman. Right?
I think
Gassman.
that sounds
Uh,
right.
Gasman. I don't recall the name, but then I was only it's peripheral for me.
Yeah. Mm,
All right. Anybody else have stuff to share? Nope. Okay. We're gonna end on time. Now that's rare. You guys have enough time to leave and do something before you have to go to your next meeting. Thank you for everywhere. I'll do a Google search and see if I can come up with more information on the Nest camera stuff. And thank you guys all for attending. So next month is a subcommittee update month. We have no meetings planned unless somebody comes up with a meeting that or a topic they absolutely feel we should share. So we can, if you have a lot to share, identify a larger chunk of the meeting for a single subcommittee. But right now, none of us have enough to share. But that's something to keep in mind and have a good November. And
okay.
I will.
One last real quick thing. I just came up with Bill Gassman's contact information. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Yep. All right. We'll share all those in the notes, Heinrich.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Oh, he's retired.
It doesn't mean a thing.
It means you're busier. It means you're busier.
Right.
Uh,
He volunteers full time for LPC.
like I said, it means you're busier.
Yep.
More
Sure
focused.
he is.
Yes.
Okay, folks, you have a great weekend or week. What day is this? Monday? Week. Happy
Believe it or not.
Halloween.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you all next month.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you, Kathy.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Kathy. It was great.
Yep. Talk to you later.